Hey everyone, welcome to Real English Podcast, the place where real people have real conversations and help you transform your life through English. Today's topic is very important because it can change your future. We are talking about the habits of rich and successful people. Trust me, you don't want to miss this episode. Pausa. Because today, we have a very special guest.
Simple, powerful, and honest.
So stay with us until the end. Because this can change the way you think forever. So let's start simple. People always say, I want to be rich, but they never ask, what do rich people actually do every day? Pausa. Because success is not magic, it's habits.
Exactly. And I think that's where most people fail. They focus on results, but ignore daily actions. Let me ask you something. Turns to guest. What was the first habit you changed in your life?
That's a great question. Pausa. To be honest, it wasn't money. It wasn't business. It was my mindset.
Yes, because before, I had poor habits. I used to wake up late, waste time on my phone, no goals, no discipline, pausa. And I always asked, why am I not successful?
Wow, that sounds like a lot of people.
Exactly. And one day, I realized something very hard. My life was not bad. My habits were bad.
That's powerful.
So what did you do first? I started with something small. I began waking up earlier.
Just that?
Yes, but it changed everything. Because when you wake up early, you control your day. You think more, you plan, you act. So it's not about doing something big. No, it's about doing small things. Every day.
I love that. But let's be honest, most people try and they quit. Why?
Because they want fast results. They go to the gym one week and stop. They read one book and stop. They try once and quit. So discipline is the key.
Exactly. Rich people don't quit when it's boring. They continue, even when they don't feel motivated.
That's deep. Let me ask you this. What is one habit that changed your life the most? Reading every day.
Reading?
Yes, because books change the way you think. And when you change your thinking, you change your life.
So it's like success starts in the mind.
Exactly. And most people don't understand that. They want money, but they don't change their mindset.
Wow. So if someone is watching this right now and they feel stuck, what should they do today?
Simple. Change one habit. Not 10. Not 5. Just one.
And be consistent.
Yes, because small habits create big results.
And that's the truth people don't talk about. Success is not luck. It's daily habits. Your story is incredible. But tell us, how did you achieve all this success? From nothing, from zero. How did your journey begin?
Sure, it all started when I had absolutely nothing. I lived day by day without security, without a clear direction. My ideas were scattered and my surroundings weren't helpful. But something inside me said, you have to change. That was the first spark. I remember my first steps. They were small, almost invisible. I focused on reading, learning new things, observing those who had already achieved what I wanted. At first, nobody believed in me, not even myself sometimes. But every new habit became a seed for the future. I learned to wake up early, to organize my day, to write down goals and priorities. Before, I wasted my time on meaningless things. Now, every action had a purpose. It wasn't easy. I failed many times, I felt fear. But I realized one thing. Success comes from repeating small actions consistently. After a few months, I started noticing changes. My ideas began to flow, my mind opened to opportunities I had never seen before. I realized it wasn't money that was missing. It was discipline, focus, and consistency. That's when everything slowly started to change. With each small achievement, my confidence grew. I invested time in myself, in skills, learning about business, finance, and relationships. I discovered that money doesn't come overnight, but if you maintain the right habits, the universe starts aligning in your favor. It was both an internal and external process. Internally, I changed the way I thought, my self-esteem, my vision of life. Externally, my environment changed. People who hadn't supported me began to see my determination, to respect me, to collaborate, to open doors I couldn't see before. I remember the first financial opportunities. They weren't huge, but they were proof that I was on the right path. Every small gain motivated me to continue, improve my planning, be more creative, and spot new ideas I hadn't dared to try before. Most importantly, I understood that success isn't just money, it's freedom, peace of mind, clarity, positive energy. Every habit I added didn't just change my bank account, it changed my being, my environment, friendships, lifestyle, everything transformed. Looking back, I see a path of effort, discipline, and consistent habits. Nothing was fast, nothing was random. Every habit, every book I read, every productive hour I invested, built this success. Money, ideas, and creativity followed naturally from what I had created internally. Here's the key everyone should understand. No one becomes rich by luck. No one changes their life without discipline and learning. Everything starts with small habits, simple daily decisions, and consistency. That was the magic of my transformation, and it can be anyone's if they truly commit.
It's incredible hearing this. But tell me more. How did you start seeing real changes in your life? How did your daily routine transform?
It wasn't overnight. I started with tiny, intentional habits, waking up early, reading, setting priorities. Every morning I'd plan my day meticulously. At first, it felt artificial, but slowly it became natural. These small actions laid the foundation for everything else. I also stopped wasting time on distractions. Social media, meaningless chats, watching TV all day. I replaced them with reading, learning, networking. My mind began to open. I realized that the world is full of opportunities, but only those prepared can see them and take action.
So you shifted not just habits but mindset?
Exactly. The first big change was mental. I had to believe I could succeed. I practiced visualization, wrote my goals, and reminded myself daily that nothing external defines me. My mindset became my strongest asset before any money came. Then, as I applied these habits consistently, opportunities started to appear. I noticed new ideas for business, small projects that could grow. It felt like the universe began rewarding the discipline and focus I had cultivated. And it wasn't just financial. I started noticing internal changes, confidence, patience, resilience. I could face challenges without panic. I could see solutions where before I saw only problems. My environment shifted because my energy shifted first.
That's fascinating. Can you give an example of one early success that proved you were on the right path?
Yes, I started a small side project. Barely anyone noticed, but it made my first consistent income outside of my regular work. It wasn't much, but it was proof. I could make ideas work. That success, small as it was, fueled bigger actions. Then I reinvested everything I earned into learning, courses, mentoring, books. I didn't spend on luxuries. I built a feedback loop. Small wins led to learning, learning led to more opportunities, and opportunities led to bigger wins.
Wow. So you created a system for growth, not just chasing money?
Exactly. The money came later. The system was the focus. Daily habits, continuous learning, disciplined action. That's how long-term success is built. You can't rely on luck or shortcuts. You build your life intentionally. I also learned to surround myself with the right people. Mentors, friends who shared values, business partners with integrity. Toxic relationships can drain energy. Choosing carefully who you spend time with was as important as the habits themselves. And here's the emotional part. My self-esteem grew. I started believing I deserved better. Before, I settled. Now I demanded growth. Confidence came from consistent effort, not external validation. That's why your internal world must align before external success.
That's really deep. Many people underestimate the inner work.
Exactly. You can try to chase money, but without discipline and inner transformation, it won't last. I realized that external wealth is a reflection of internal wealth, mindset, habits, emotional control, focus. As I continued, creativity increased. I started generating new ideas for businesses, investments, projects. Ideas that before seemed impossible now appeared naturally. This is the result of a disciplined brain with clear routines and mental clarity. Every morning I reflected. What worked yesterday? What didn't? What small change can I make today? Those 15-20 minutes of reflection transformed how I approached problems and opportunities. Little actions compounded over months and years.
I love this. Can you share one habit that gave you the biggest breakthrough?
Reading every day, not just random articles. Books that expand my thinking. Strategy, psychology, finance. That alone transformed my perspective. It taught me to think in systems, to see opportunities others ignore. And when your perspective changes, Your results change. The money, the lifestyle, the relationships, all are consequences. That's the principle I live by. Change your habits, change your mind, and the world around you will follow. Another habit that changed everything was journaling. Every night I wrote down my wins, my mistakes, and lessons. This simple practice made me more aware, focused, and accountable. Small daily reflections built momentum, shaping my mindset, my creativity, and preparing me for bigger opportunities in life.
Journaling sounds simple, but it's powerful. Did you notice your environment changing too?
Absolutely. Once I started changing my mindset and habits, people around me began to respect my time and dedication. Old friends who wasted energy drifted away, while supportive people entered my life. Your environment reflects your inner world. Financial growth started slowly. Small projects, small investments. I reinvested every profit into learning, experiments, and ideas. Nothing huge at first, but the key was consistency, not speed. The compounding effect of disciplined action brought real wealth over time, not instant luck. I remember the first time I earned more in 1 month than I had earned in a whole year before. It was surreal. But it wasn't magic. It was habits, persistence, and learning from failures. Every loss taught me something that no mentor or book could fully explain.
So the failures were important too?
Yes, they were feedback. Every failed project taught me resilience, strategy, and patience. I began to see that failure is not the opposite of success. It's part of the journey. Most people give up at the first obstacle. That's why they never reach their potential. Internally, I changed too. My self-esteem, emotional control, and confidence improved. I stopped reacting to fear or doubt. I focused on actions I could control. That inner stability allowed me to take bigger risks, innovate, and pursue projects that would have scared me before. One major turning point was learning to manage my time like a resource. Time is the only non-renewable asset. Once I treated it like money, investing wisely, cutting waste, I could accomplish more, think strategically, and create opportunities that multiplied my results.
Time management is underrated. Did that also affect your creativity?
Yes, by structuring my day, my brain had space to generate ideas naturally. I started thinking in systems, seeing connections, noticing opportunities everywhere. Habits create freedom, and freedom creates creativity. That was a breakthrough for me. Networking also became intentional. I approached people with value, not expectation. I listened, learned, and collaborated. These connections opened doors I never imagined. Surrounding yourself with the right people multiplies success faster than anything else, even more than money alone. And here's a truth. Every habit I adopted, every book I read, every hour I invested, built momentum. Momentum is like compound interest for life. The more consistent you are, the more opportunities, ideas, and financial growth begin to appear naturally. It's unstoppable once it starts.
It's inspiring hearing how consistent habits changed your life. Can you share a moment when everything started to feel real? When success wasn't just an idea, but tangible?
Yes, I'll never forget the first big project I completed successfully. It was a risk, required late nights and sacrifices, but the payoff wasn't just money. It was proof that my methods worked. That's when confidence and clarity skyrocketed. At that moment, I realized habits are like roots of a tree. The bigger the roots, the stronger the tree. Discipline, focus, time management, reading, networking, all these small actions built a foundation so solid that financial and creative growth became inevitable. I also learned to track results meticulously. I measured my time, energy, and output. Every hour had a purpose. This habit of measurement gave me insight into what truly worked. Many people work hard but waste effort because they never evaluate results.
That's amazing. Did you notice changes in your lifestyle as well?
Absolutely. Once I managed my habits, my health, energy, and focus improved. I slept better, ate better, exercised. All these small improvements compounded. Success isn't just financial, it's holistic. It affects mind, body, and environment. Financial growth accelerated as habits became automatic. I wasn't chasing money anymore. I was creating systems and ideas. Money flowed naturally as a byproduct of value creation. I invested intelligently and reinvested in learning. That's how sustainable success works. Creativity exploded when I gave myself freedom to think. Daily routines created structure, structure created mental space, and space created clarity. Suddenly, I was generating ideas faster than I could execute them. Habits enabled creativity, and creativity multiplied opportunities.
So habits didn't just bring money, they unlocked your mind?
Exactly. People underestimate the power of small daily routines. Your brain needs freedom to innovate, and structured habits give that freedom. Consistency becomes the soil for ideas, money, and personal growth. I also embraced patience. Results don't come instantly. Many times I worked hard with no immediate reward. But discipline and persistence compound. The most valuable successes are delayed. That patience became my secret weapon. It prevented frustration and impulsive decisions. Relationships also shifted. I sought people who inspired me, shared my values, and pushed me forward. I minimized time with negative influences. Your social environment is a multiplier of your habits, mindset, and energy. Choose it wisely. It affects results more than you realize.
And when the money started flowing, how did you handle it mentally?
I treated it as a tool, not a reward. I reinvested in myself, in knowledge, in systems. I avoided instant gratification. True wealth comes from building structures that produce sustainable value, not from one-time gains. That mindset made all the difference. I also developed the habit of morning reflection. Every day I asked, what worked yesterday? What can I improve today? These questions kept me aligned with my goals. Daily reflection sharpened focus, fueled creativity, and prevented mistakes from repeating. Discipline became a lifestyle, not a task. It wasn't about forcing myself. It was about creating an environment and mindset that naturally supported productivity and growth. Once discipline becomes identity, success follows without struggle.
That's powerful. Can you give one concrete example of a small habit that had huge results?
Waking up at 5 a.m. every day. Just that one habit changed everything. It gave me quiet hours to plan, read, create. The world sleeps, I create. Early mornings became my secret advantage. Time that others wasted became my most valuable asset. Another habit was tracking ideas immediately. Whenever an idea appeared, I wrote it down. At first, it seemed trivial, but over months, I had a library of actionable ideas. Some became businesses, others investments, all from consistent note-taking and follow-through. Consistency beats intensity. Many people try hard for a week and quit. Small daily actions repeated over years create momentum. Momentum is unstoppable. It leads to exponential growth in money, creativity, mindset, and life. That's the principle I live by.
Momentum. That's huge. How did it feel when you finally realized your life had transformed?
It was emotional. I saw my habits reflected in my reality. My mind, my finances, my relationships, my energy, all aligned. It was proof that intentional actions compound. I became living evidence that discipline and consistency produce real, tangible change. I also embraced learning from mentors. I sought guidance, absorbed knowledge, and applied it immediately. This shortcut multiplied results. Habits, plus mentorship, plus reflection, unstoppable growth. The combination accelerated my journey beyond what I could do alone. Creativity, financial success, mental clarity, all are connected. Habits govern all three. Once you master daily routines, your brain functions optimally. Ideas flow, decisions are sharper, and opportunities appear naturally. That's when life feels abundant.
And your mindset today, how does it differ from your early days?
I think in systems, not events. I focus on leverage and compounding. I approach problems as opportunities. Fear and doubt exist, but I act despite them. My mindset is my anchor. Habits are my engine, and the world is my playground for ideas and impact. Even failures became lessons. Nothing breaks momentum if you reflect and adjust. Early struggles taught me resilience. Today, obstacles are signals, not barriers. That shift, seeing challenges as feedback, changes everything. Gratitude became another habit. Appreciating small wins, progress, learning, and opportunities fueled motivation. Gratitude is like fuel for the brain. It keeps energy positive and decisions aligned with long-term goals.
You mentioned creativity before. Any habits specifically for that?
Yes. Morning reflection, journaling, reading diverse books, and quiet walks. Ideas often appear in stillness. Habits that create mental space make innovation inevitable. Structured life breeds free thinking. Finally, I embraced health as a habit. Energy is a currency. Without focus on sleep, exercise, and nutrition, even the best ideas fail. Discipline in the body supports discipline in the mind. That balance was crucial for lasting success. Looking back, everything, money, ideas, influence, was a consequence of habits, mindset, and persistence. The real secret isn't one action. It's the cumulative effect of hundreds of small decisions consistently applied over time.
Incredible. If someone listening wants to change their life, what's the first habit you'd tell them to start today?
Pick one small habit. Morning planning, journaling, early wake up, reading. Start today. Consistency over intensity. Build momentum. Habits shape your reality. Change one habit, change your life. Everything else follows naturally.
This is incredible. But tell me, how did all these habits and your success affect your relationships? Your friends? Your family?
At first it was challenging. Some friends couldn't understand my new routines and focus. They questioned my choices, mocked my discipline. But over time, the right people stayed, and we grew together. Habits don't just change you, they change your circle too. Family also noticed. Initially, they were skeptical, worried I was too obsessed with work or money. But as they saw consistent progress, stability, and my happiness, they started respecting my choices. My habits brought calm, clarity, and positive energy to our home. I realized that success isn't just about personal gain. It's about raising the energy of everyone around you. My friends who stayed became inspired, started their own growth. My family felt more secure, more optimistic. Positive habits create ripples that impact your environment. Looking back, I see that habits, discipline, and mindset didn't just change my bank account, they transformed my social world, my family, and my influence. That's why I say, success is holistic. It starts inside, and everything around you shifts naturally when you commit.
Wow, your story is truly inspiring. Any final words for our listeners who want to transform their lives?
Start small. Pick one habit. Commit to it daily. Focus on growth, consistency, and patience. Surround yourself with the right people. Remember, success is a reflection of who you become inside. Change your habits, change your life, and everything else follows naturally.
Thank you so much for joining us today. Your story, your insights, and your habits are truly inspiring. I hope everyone listening takes away the lessons of discipline, consistency, and patience. Remember, change starts from within, and your habits shape your world. We can't wait to see what you do next. Thank you again for being on Real Invis Podcast, and to our audience, keep growing, stay focused, and follow your dreams.